Hey everybody, it's Glenn, back in this video with a collection of custom action figures straight out of the pages of the Marvel Universe Handbook. They are a group of renegade Inhumans. Speaking of the Inhumans, you may be more familiar with Black Bolt and Medusa, Crystal, the royal family of the Inhumans. Well, these renegade humans you see here try to overthrow that royal family. First up is Aereo, an Inhuman who is able to become lighter than air and float. Yeah, I know it sounds a bit lame, but it was the 1960s, a more innocent time in the Marvel Universe, before every character had to be omnipotent and have earth-shattering powers. Of this bunch of custom action figures, Aereo here was probably the simplest one to complete. He comprises a Marvel Legends Mr. Fantastic base figure with a Marvel Legends Electro head, and his hair and some creasing on his costume were sculpted with epoxy clay. Next up is Falcone. Her power is that she's able to mentally control all birds of prey, especially, as her name suggests, falcons. Falcone uses a Marvel Legends Psylocke base figure with the head of a DC lady whose name I can't quite remember at the moment, and her skirt is from a Lord of the Rings figure. When compared to some of my other custom action figures, Falcone probably does have less visual wow factor than some of them, but I did a lot of attention to detail here in the creasing of her costume, which was all sculpted with epoxy clay, and like I said, while it lacks the wow factor, it's attention to detail like that can really bring a character to life. Her falcon is from a Master of the Universe mini statue. It came with Evil Lyn, and it's actually Zor, although much modified here, and the falcon is removable from her wrist. And now Leonis. Leonis has all the attributes of a lion: strength, endurance, speed, and agility. He also has these rather menacing steel claws on his hands and feet. Leonis uses a Marvel Legends Omega Red as base figure with an X-Men Classic Storm hair. Might seem like a weird choice of hair here, but the volume of it seemed to be fitting for a kind of lion's mane. Of the various figures I'm showcasing in this video, Leonis was far and away the most complicated and time-intensive figure to complete. There's just a lot of sculpted detail that I had to complete in the figure, from his beard to his belt to the claws, which took a lot of head scratching to complete those and yet still retain the articulation. And now Stelios, who just happens to share the appearance of a centaur from ancient Greek mythology, but is in fact an Inhuman. Stelios' human part comes from a WWE Deluxe Aggression action figure, and his head comes from a Marvel Legends Omega Red. His horse part is a Lord of the Rings horse figure, which unfortunately does have a galloping action operated by a button on his side. I would rather not have that action in my custom figure, but it's hard to find a decent horse action figure for a base on a 6-inch scale. All of Stelios' armoured details was sculpted with epoxy clay, as was his tail, as I had used the tail of this horse figure in my Werewolf by Night custom action figure, if you've seen that video. Probably a few months back now. And his weapons, the shield is from a Taskmaster, and I made the flail from a table tennis ball and some jewellery making chain. And I actually learned through making this that weapon is called a flail. See, customizing does teach me stuff. And now my favourite of the bunch, Timbirias, who I have just freshly finished. The paint on him just barely dry. Timbirias, as you can see, is an Inhuman with bark-like skin, and he's able to cause rapid and wild growth in any plant he touches. Timbirias uses a Marvel Legends Blackheart as a base figure, which I selected because of the texture on the figure. It stands in well for being kind of gnarly type bark texture. And the branches on his head came from the back of a Marvel Legends Man thing. His hands are from the Marvel Legends MODOK Builder figure, and his toes, which I wanted to look like roots, they're actually Marvel Legends Man Thing's fingers. And he has an Omega Red head, and his vine is from a Poison Ivy figure. Anyway, all these figures are available via eBay auction. I thank you for watching my video. As ever, please comment, rate and subscribe, and I will see you next time.